Hi team, welcome to Automation for Testers. In this video, we are going to talk about different ways of iterating an array. So far we have discussed a couple of methods which are present in array, but we have to discuss about how to iterate the different elements which are present in the array from the starting index 0 to till the end of the array. Okay, there are majorly four ways are there. One, you can say normal for loop, and for each, for off, for in. Okay, so in this lecture mainly we'll discuss about four different ways how we can iterate from each other, what is the different outputs that you can expect from each and every for loop that is mentioned over here, and the differences between all these four will be discussed in the next video. Okay, so time being, let's start with how to work with these four for loops. Okay, so let's jump on to the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so here the first one, right, the normal for loop. So in the earlier example, earlier videos, we have already discussed about iteration statements, right? So there we have discussed about for loop. Now when it comes to the for loop, right, so what is the syntax we have? Normal for loop. Okay, so we all know here we have to go for one variable declaration. Okay, so here variable I equal to 0 and I less than. Okay, so now we all know to get the size of an array we have one property that is called as what? Length property. Then after that you can say I plus plus. Okay, so this is one way. Now if you want to print out all the values which are present in the array, what we can simply say? Log arr of. So we all know each and every value which are present in the array is going to be accessed by what? Index. Okay, so now here if I place it as I here, now if I run the program, there you can see 20, 10, 60, 30, like this every value it is getting printed. Okay, so this is one way. Second way is if you want to write it straightforward, there you can see normal for loop, right? So if you say enter, it will give you the complete syntax itself. Okay, two ways, you can type it like this, or else you can make use of the IDE. Simply say enter and say here like this, it will give you the complete syntax. Okay, so if you are not sure about any syntax, you can make use of the features of IDE, especially Visual Studio Code. Okay, so let me re-explain this concept. Okay, so here the normal for loop, whatever we have discussed in the iterational statements, first you need to declare your variable. Here so far we have not discussed about the other variable declaration types like let or constant. So because of that reason only I am mentioning like variable here, otherwise it is not recommended. Second one, I less than arr.length, because we all know to know the length of an array we have something called what? Length property, and then I plus plus. After that I am printing the values. Okay, so this is very straightforward and normal way of writing the for loop. Okay, so now let's go to the second one. Second one is what? For each. Okay, so now for each, right, we have to do something like this. Arr dot, we have one method what? For each. Okay, so in for each what it does is, if you put the cursor over here, there you can see it is taking one callback function. So far we have not discussed anything related to callback functions. What we will do, we will try to write down the syntax first. In the future videos we will also be definitely looking at what is meant by callback function, what is meant by promises and all. Okay, so time being, just look at the syntax. I'm just writing element. It could be any value, it could be I, it could be j, there is no restriction for you at all. So in the bracket what I have written? I. So now equal to, here this is called as, you can say, arrow function and anonymous function, because it does not have any name for it, right? So open curly bracket, close curly bracket. So all you can do is simply log, simply say I. Okay, so not I, let's try to print I, then you will clearly understand what exactly it is giving you. Okay, so there you can see it is giving us the value. Now what is meant by for each over here? You can see perform the specified action for each element in an array. That means it will iterate this for each, iterate over each and every value which is present inside of the array. Okay, this one will give you what? Element itself. You can give any name here. It is not always mandated that I or j. You can give element, it could be any name. So what you need to do, arr dot for each. Okay, so you close your bracket here. Then after that you need to write one arrow function like this. Okay, you can see one like this. After that this is an arrow one, and then open bracket and close bracket. Then you can write how many number of lines inside of this as you wish. Okay, this is one way. If you want to go by IDE, simply you can say for each. See here, for each, simply say enter, and it is always come like array. Our object is array, right? Like this. Both are same. Syntactically it will work same. If you try to say log and then element and try to run your program, same output you are going to get it. No difference at all. Okay, there you can see like this. Okay, so like this you can use the for each in order to get the values from the array. Okay, so the thing that you need to understand is what is the difference from here to here. Syntactically, yes, of course there is something different, and one more thing is that you don't need to worry about what is the length of a array and declaring a variable and then incrementing it. Doing these stuffs you don't need. Automatically that job will be taken care by whom? For each. Anyway, we'll discuss again the difference between one from other for loops in the next video. Okay, so now third one. Now third one is what? For off. Okay, so here if you take a look at here, right, so for, there you can see there are different syntax are there. Okay, for in is there, for off is also there. So try to say this one, say enter. There you can see constant. We are not discussing about constant, right? Simply make it as iterator. So here which iterator is that? ARR, right? So simply say ARR. Now try to enter the value. So for example iterator, and now you run the program. CLS, run the program. There you can see 20, 10, 60, 30, 70, 50. Okay, syntax is very simple, guys. It's like a normal for each which is present in Java. Okay, there you can see ARR, object on which you want to do some iteration, and then there you can see this is a keyword that you need to use, and for loop definitely you have to use that keyword, and here it is a variable. You can give I also. It should not be an issue at all, because I does not make any sense over here, right? So it's something like you are representing an index, but here it is giving you values, right? So better you give any element kind of thing. Anything is fine. Variable name is not going to matter for you, right? So there you can see same values. Okay, so like this you can use the for off. Okay, definitely we'll discuss the difference between from each other, but time being we're just simply displaying the values of an array using different for loops. Okay, so syntax once again: for, you have to write the keyword, and then after that in the bracket you have to declare a variable. You have to use the keyword of, and then you have to use the object name, and then rest of everything logic, whatever you want you can write it. Okay, in the same fashion, same syntax. For, there you can see for in is there, right? Okay, so this will give you so much of things. Okay, so in order to make it clear understanding, I am simply saying variable. Let's say this is I only. Okay, now what is our object? ARR, straightforward, right? So now if I try to print log, okay, if I say I, and let's see what is the output we are going to get it. Same output, same syntax comparing with off and in. There is no difference at all. Okay, in terms of syntax I'm saying. Okay, so now CLS, try to run your program. There you can see it is giving 0 to 6. That means when you use for off, when you apply the for off on the array, it will give you array values. It is not going to return the index. Whereas when you apply for in on the arrays, it will give you what? Indexes. They are not going to give you what? Values. So here what I have to say? ARR of I. Okay, so now CLS, try to run your program. Now you're getting your values. Okay, so by looking into the output only, we came to know the little differences. Like for this one and this one, what is the difference, guys? One is a keyword difference you have. Second one is what? This one will give you the for off will give you only the values of a array, but this one will give you what? For in, it will give you the indexes of your array. Okay, so in the next video we'll try to see even in depth of what is the difference between one to the another. Okay, so far if you take a look at the entire session, once again we have discussed about 4 iteration ways. One is a normal for loop using the traditional one, where you can use declaration and condition and increment decrement part. By using normal for each, where you can have some arrow function, and it is something like new for us callback function, and here we have seen for off and for in, and major difference that you find out is like there you can see for off you will get the values directly, and here you will get the indexes. Okay, so that's all for this session guys. Thank you for joining the session.